So last week we were discussing how Narada Muni entering into the dead body of the small boy spoke some important spiritual instructions, hearing which King Citraketu understood the reality of this material existence. Then he voluntarily surrendered to the two great sages. Then Narada Muni instructed him in a great mantra consisting of the holy names of the Chaturyuha, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Anuruddha, which Narada Muni himself received from Bhakti Vedantas, which the great personalities like Lord Shiva and many others used to chant and attain the direct audience of the Supreme Lord and direct mercy and empowerment of the Supreme Lord many times. And this, the specialty of this mantra, in 7 days one can attain the shelter of Lord's lotus feet. So, following the instructions of Narada Muni, similarly, 7 days, our King Citraketu attained the position as the king of the Vidyadharas. And further continuing tapasya, chanting this mantra, Citraketu Maharaj had the beautiful darshan of Lord Sankarshana. And then there was a discussion about the beautiful form of Lord Sankarshana. And Citraketu Maharaj fell flat and offering obeisances to the lotus feet of Lord Sankarshana, moistening the seat on which Lord's lotus feet is kept, and then becoming sober after some time. Now, Citraketu Maharaj is going to offer some wonderful prayers highlighting the essence of bhakti in comparison to karma, jnana, yoga, etc. So text number 34 to 48, we will see the prayers offered by Citraketu Maharaj, which highlight the topmost position of bhakti. And then the rest of the chapter will see Lord Sankarshana will respond to Citraketu Maharaj. So today we'll see this section. So text number 34, Citraketu Maharaj is offering prayers. Though these prayers looks like 4-line shlokas, but they are not in proper meter. So like other shlokas, we may not be able to sing in a rhythmic way. These are like as good as prose only, but they are arranged in 4 lines, something like that. So they are said to be in a special meter known as Arya meter. This is another meter, not like the regular meters, but this is some different meter. Citraketu Uvacha.
Citraketu Uvacha.
Ajita samamatibihi.
Ajita samamatibihi.
Sadhubir Bhavan. Jitma bhir bhavata.
Sadhubir Bhavan Jitatmabhir Bhavatam.
Vijitaste picha bhajatam.
Vijitaste picha bhajatam.
Akamatmanam ya atmadoti karunaha.
Akamatmanam ya atmadoti karunaha. Citraketu said, O unconquerable Lord, although you cannot be conquered by anyone, you are certainly conquered by devotees who have control of the mind and senses. They can keep you under their control because you are causelessly merciful to devotees who desire no material profit from you. Indeed, you give yourself to them. And because of this, you also have full control over your devotees.
So this verse talks about how Lord becomes controlled by his pure devotees and how pure devotees are completely controlled by the Supreme Lord. Citraketu Maharaj is saying that, O unconquerable Lord. In general, Lord is unconquerable, but Lord is conquered by pure devotion. Although you cannot be conquered by anyone, you are conquered by devotees who have control of the mind and senses. The devotees are conquered by you, who are merciful and give yourself to those who worship you without material desires. So both The Lord is conquering the devotees, devotees are conquering the Supreme Lord. This is the beauty of bhakti. The Lord and the devotee both drown in an ocean of blissful rasa, attained by being controlled by each other through bhakti. In this way, King Citraketu praised the Supreme Lord. O unconquerable Lord, you are not conquered by jnanis, not conquered by yogis, not conquered by karmis, but you are conquered by devotees. And you are made dependent on devotees who are equal in their happiness and suffering. What are the qualities of the devotees? Samamatibihi. They are they completely possess the equanimity during the dualities. And who have controlled the mind, controlled kama, which is the nature of the mind. So the devotees have controlled their mind and senses, and they have also controlled their material desires. Thus, they are without material desires in their worship. This is a cause of conquering you. So why the devotees are able to conquer the Lord? Because the devotees are worshipping the Lord selflessly, without any selfish motivation. That makes the Lord come under control of the selfless devotees. These devotees are conquered by you because you give yourself to those who worship without material desires. Same way, the devotees also become completely sold out to Supreme Lord because other devatas, when one approaches them, they will give some blessings, but the Supreme Lord will give Himself. So why not the devotees become sold out to the Supreme Lord, such kind of Supreme Lord? If you serve me alone and do not request liberation or anything else from me, serving me day and night, you make me a debtor. So as Lord Krishna says to gopis, Naparameham Niravadya Samyujam. I cannot repay you even though if I have got the lifespan of Brahmaji. So that's what happens when a devotee serves the Lord selflessly. Lord becomes the debtor. We hear in Bhagavad Gita that as soon as we are born, we are indebted to 6 kinds of people. Devarshi Bhutatunam Chapitunam. But the Lord becomes debtor to a devotee. So this is what the specialty bhakti. The Lord gives Himself to those persons. This means that the Lord gives them objects for the eye, ear, and nose, such as His beauty. That means how Lord is giving Himself to the devotees. Lord gives His transcendental beauty by which the eyes of a devotee are completely satisfied. Lord speaks wonderful words to the devotees by which the ears of the devotees are completely satisfied. And Lord's lotus feet emanates wonderful fragrance by which the nostril of the devotees is completely satisfied. So, in that way, the cause of conquering them is that you give yourself to your devotees. This is how the Supreme Lord conquers the devotees. The Jnanis worship the Lord at the stage of sadhana, but with a desire for liberation. Even Jnanis also worship the Lord, but not to get the Lord, but to get liberation. Sajya Mukti. The Jnanis are not without desire, since they desire to destroy their suffering. So, wanted to get liberation is also a desire. That's why they will not be able to control the Supreme Lord. So, this is how Lord becomes subservient to devotees only, but not to the Jnanis and Yogis or Karmis who have, though they are serving the Lord, but they have their own personal agenda. That is the reason. So, having stated how both the Lord and the devotees come under mutual control by each other, King Citraketu now explains the powers of the Lord in 3 verses. The next in 3 verses. So you may think that okay, he is coming under control of devotees. That means he is not so powerful. Not like that. He is powerful. In spite of being so powerful, he comes under the control of the love of devotees. That is his greatness. Or that is his sweetness. So next 3 verses talks about Lord's power in terms of space, time, and majesty. So we'll see. Tava Vibhava Kalu Bhagavan.
तव विभव खलु भगवान्
Jagadudaya Stitilayadini.
जगदुदय स्थिति लयादिनी
Vishwasrujastem Shamshas.
विश्वसृजस्ते अंशांशास्
तत्र मृषा परदन्ति पृथग् अभिमत्या
सर्दान्ति पृथक् अभिमत्य. My dear Lord, this cosmic manifestation and its creation, maintenance, and annihilation are all but your opulences. Since Lord Brahma and the other creators are nothing but small portions of a portion of you, their partial power to create does not make them God. Their consciousness of themselves as separate lords is therefore merely false prestige. It is not valid.
So the first attribute of Lord's greatness. O Lord, creation, maintenance, and destruction for the universe is your greatness. The subsidiary creators of the universe, such as Devatas, they are portions of you, compete in vain, thinking themselves separate from you. So there are so Vibhava means greatness. Creation and destruction are your greatness. There could be a question come. But we see that Brahma and others create the universe. Brahma, Prajapati, they also create Daksha Prajapati, etc. etc. Those creators are only portions of you. Yeah, we may say Daksha is creating, Brahma is creating, Kashyapa is creating, but they are
Your
an
voice is
expansion of the
breaking,
Supreme Lord.
Prabhuji.
Okay.
Krishna,
Now also, yes,
your
Prabhu.
voice is breaking.
Maybe some internet issue.
Is
Now,
it
Prabhu, you
only
are able
for
to hear
me
me?
or for others also?
Other
No, we
devotees
can
are
hear
able
you
to?
properly, Prabhuji. We can
Hmm.
hear Prabhuji properly. His voice is not
Yeah,
breaking.
same here. I can also hear.
Pradeep Prabhu, you can just log off and log in once again. So, from regular point of view, we generally say that Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the maintainer, etc. But even Brahma and Brahma's children, such as Daksha, Kashyapa, and others, who also create, they are an expansion of the Supreme Lord only. So, Lord is the original creator. But Brahma and Shiva are devotees. They compete in establishing the lordship of their masters. So how can you say that they are the secondary creators are competing with each other? The personalities like Brahma and Lord Shiva are great devotees. They don't compete. Even if they compete, that is only to establish Lord's greatness. That competition is useless because they identify with a particular body, saying that I am Brahma, I am Shiva, I am Sun God, I am this, I am that. So as long as one has that identity and one is trying to project oneself with that identity, that is vain in nature. Of course, some example is given. It is not exactly Brahma and Shiva are doing like this. In case if somebody is doing in this world saying that I am the creator, I am this, I am that, by projecting their own name, such kind of projection is as useless, because ultimately the the principal creator is Lord Vishnu. The others may be a local creators. They cannot compete with the Supreme Lord. So local competition among the devatas is of no good use. So like that. So that basically it indicates that even though locally we may hear many times that these people are doing so many wonderful things, but compared to Supreme Lord, their activities are all nowhere comparable. Lord's greatness is incomparable. So that is one attribute of Lord's greatness. And the next two verses talks about two more other attributes of Lord's greatness. So let us see what they are. परमाणु परमा महतोस
Paramanu Parama Mahatos
त्वमादि अन्त तमादि अन्तान्तर वर्तित्रय विधूरः
Tvam Adi Antantara Varti Traya Viduraha
आदौ अन्तेऽपि च सत्त्वानां
Adav Ante Picha Satvanam
यद्ध्रुवं ते यद्ध्रुवं तद् एवान्तरालेऽपि
Yadhruvam Tad Evantaralepi. You exist in the beginning, middle, and end of everything, from the most minute particle of the cosmic manifestation, the atom, to the gigantic universes and total material energy. Nonetheless, you are eternal, having no beginning, end, or middle. You are perceived to exist in these three phases, and thus you are permanent. When the cosmic manifestation does not exist, you exist as the original potency.
The subtle cause and the gross effect of this universe belong to you. You exist in the beginning of the creation, in the middle of the creation, and at the end of the annihilation. But you are without beginning, without middle, and without end. Since you are fixed amidst the beginning, middle, and end of all products. The Lord way was there before the beginning of this material creation. Lord is now there while the material universe are being maintained. After the universe are annihilated, still Lord will be there. That is Lord's greatness. You are the creator, the real permanent form. You are the first cause, most subtle, and the final great effect. So it was the Lord who, by glancing upon Prakriti, caused creation. It was the same Lord, by withdrawing his glance upon Prakriti, will annihilate all the universes. So he is the ultimate cause, and he is the effective cause, and he is the material cause. He is everything for this material world. You exist in the beginning of the creation, in the middle of the creation, and at the end of the creation. That means at the end of the annihilation also. But you are divided of beginning, middle, and end because you are eternal. So this universe has a beginning, middle, and end. But the creator of this universe, the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu, has no beginning, middle, and end. You are steady at the cause of all effects in the beginning, end, and middle, like gold in relation to gold ornaments. Initially, gold ore was there, from that golden ornaments came, and one day the golden ornaments will again merge back into gold ore. So, gold ore is always there, but ornaments have the beginning and ending. So, in that way. Therefore, you are the cause of all things, the permanent object, whereas everything else is a product and therefore a temporary object. So, the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu is a permanent object, and the entire material universe and everything within that universe are all temporary objects. So, this is the second greatness of the Supreme Lord. So, before going ahead, one point which was told in the third canto, the second quadruple expansion, who are Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Among these four, Sankarshana, Lord Sankarshana becomes Mahavishnu, Pradyumna becomes Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Aniruddha becomes Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So here Citraketu Maharaj is glorifying Lord Sankarshana, who has become Mahavishnu. So these verses are talking about the wonderful activities of Mahavishnu. So in that way, we can see, in that light, we can see how the connection is being maintained. What he is telling is about Mahavishnu, but offering praise to Lord Sankarshana. How both are related? It is Lord Sankarshana himself expands as Mahavishnu and creates, maintains, and annihilates the entire material universes. So in that way, both are related. And yeah. And then one more point also. It is from that Mahavishnu only. When Mahavishnu glances upon Prakriti or Pradhana, so that glance carries Jiva Tattva and Kala Tattva. That Kala Tattva manifested as Sadashiva. And the same Sadashiva appears as 11 Rudras within each and every universe. So both Sadashiva as well as the 11 Rudras have manifested from Lord Sankarshana and Lord Mahavishnu. And Lord Mahavishnu manifests from Lord Sankarshana. In that sense, Lord Sankarshana is the source of Sadashiva and 11 Rudras. So in that way, the previous chapter, we heard that Lord Shiva also meditates upon Lord Sankarshana by chanting this mantra. In the fifth canto, we saw that Lord Shiva, one of the 11 Rudras who are residing in the Elavarta Varsha, offering wonderful prayers unto Lord Sankarshana. His source, his worshipful deity. So in that way, all of them are closely connected to each other.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, like 11 Rudras, we earlier when the creation was discussed, we discussed that 11 Rudras were created by Brahma. Jina means he first created the means
No,
Shivji came
no.
out.
See, it is not about creation. 11 Rudras appeared through the via medium of Brahmaji. But the 11 Rudras are direct expansions of Sadashiva. Like Lord Rama appeared through Dasharath Maharaj. Lord Krishna appeared through Vasudev. You cannot say that Dasharath Maharaj is the creator of Lord Rama, Vasudev is the creator of Lord Krishna. Not like that. Within the material world, they have assumed the role of the parent. Like that, Lord Brahma assumed the role of the parent of Lord Shiva.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Just 1 second. Somebody is coming to room. Hare Krishna, you able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Okay.
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Shitadivir Esha Kalavrtaha
चित्यादिभिरेष किलावृताः
Saptadivir Dasha Gunottarairandakoshaha
सप्ताद्विदशगुणोत्तर अण्डकोशः
Yatra Parati Anukalpaha
यत्र पतत्यनुकल्पः
Sahandakotikotibistadanantaha
सहाण्डकोटिकोटिभिस्तदनन्तः. Every universe is covered by 7 layers: earth, water, fire, air, sky, the total energy, and false ego, each 10 times greater than the previous one. There are innumerable universes beside this one, and although they are unlimitedly large, they move about like atoms in it. Therefore, you are called unlimited, Ananta.
So this is another attribute of Lord's greatness, which is also in connection to Mahavishnu. The universe covered by 7 layers is 10 times thicker than the previous layer, wanders about like an atom, Paramanu, along with billions of other universes inside of you. Therefore, you are Ananta. The Lord has been described as existing in all time. The previous verse talks about in all time, before the creation, during the lifetime of Brahma, and after the annihilation, past, present, and future. Now he is described as existing in all space. The universe is surrounded by 7 layers of earth, water, fire, air, ether, ahankara, mahatattva, and prakriti at the 8th layer, each 10 times thicker than the previous layer. The universe moves about in you, therefore you are unlimited. Even 3rd canto 11th chapter also talks about this. There are millions of universes, and all the universes in comparison to Mahavishnu are like Paramanu. Paramanuvat Kotishyo under Ashaya. Crores of under Ashis, Brahmandas are there. They are all like Paramanu in relation to Mahavishnu. That is the greatness of Mahavishnu. So in this way, in these 3 verses, the greatness of the Lord is established. In spite of being so great, he comes under the control of the selfless devotional service of devotees. That is Lord's sweetness. So in that way it is being indicated. Now, he further continues. Yes, Lord is so great, but he comes under the control of his sweet devotees. He becomes so much enamored by the love of the devotees. But this is not so with non-devotees. That will be indicated in the upcoming verses. Vishayatrisho nara pashavo
विषयतृषो नरपशवो
या upasate vibhutirna param tvam
या उपासते विभूतिर्न परं त्वाम्
तेषाम् आशीष ईशा
Tesham Ashisha Isha
तदनु विनश्यन्ति यथा राजकुलम्
Tadanu Vinashyanti Yatha Rajakulam. O Lord, O Supreme, unintelligent persons who thirst for sense enjoyment and who worship various demigods are no better than animals in the human form of life. Because of their animalistic propensities, they fail to worship your lordship and instead they worship the insignificant demigods who are but small sparks of your glory. With the destruction of the entire universe, including the demigods, the benedictions received from the demigods also vanish, just like the nobility when a king is no longer in power.
Just like in Bhagavad Gita, we see that people worship devatas in order to fulfill their material desires quickly. Kamaiste stirtha jnana prapadyante anya devata. Something like that. Couple of places such kind of understanding comes in the Bhagavad Gita. Same thing is mentioned here. So people who have material desires, they go to other deities. What happens to them? If they come to Supreme Lord even with material desires, what happens to them? If somebody can come to Supreme Lord without material desires, then what will happen to them? So like that gradual progression will be explained in the next 3 verses. O Lord, the blessings given to animal like men, Narapashavo, thirsty for material pleasure, Vishaya Trusho, who worship devatas and not you. Okay? Ya upasate vibhutir, na param tvam, are destroyed when the devatas are destroyed. Tesham ashisha isha. Just as the blessings of a king upon his servant disappear when the king's dynasty disappears. After glorifying the Lord, the devotee is glorified. But first, the non devotee is criticized. Vibhuti means devatas. So, the non devotees worship the devatas and not you. After the destruction of the devatas, their blessings also disappear. When the family of a king disappears, the blessings given by the family to the servant also disappears. So simple. We always hear that the devatas have a lifespan of one manvantara. Indra, Chandra, Varuna, ityadi devatas, they all stay for one manvantara. So whatever blessing they may offer, they also have a validity time period. That is maximum one manvantara, not more than that. So after their removal from the position of devatas, their blessings also will not work. So like that. How to understand this? The reference is the king. A king is there and he is taking care of so many servants in his palace and they are all being paid, taken care very nicely by the king. When some neighboring king comes and defeat this king and kill this king and occupy the kingdom, that new king will not show same compassion to the servants. He may also kill the servants or he may throw the servants out of the kingdom. He may employ new servants. So like this anything can happen. So So as long as one is in positions, one in a particular position, one's blessings or one's assurance will be in action. Afterwards, it will not be. So that is what happens. Even the devatas can provide big blessings, but they have a limited time period. So now, if the same people come to Supreme Lord with a desire to get some material blessings, what happens to them? That is explained in the next verse. Kamadiyastvai rachita
कामधियस्त्वयि रचिताम्
ना परमरोहन्ति यथा करम्बबीजानि
न परमरोहन्ति यथा कर्मबीजानि
ज्ञानात्मनि अगुणमये
ज्ञानात्मनि अगुणमये
गुणगणतोऽस्य द्वन्द्वजालानि
गुणगणतोऽस्य द्वन्द्वजालानि. O Supreme Lord, if persons obsessed with material desires for sense gratification through material opulence worship you, who are the source of all knowledge and are transcendental to material qualities, they are not subject to material rebirth, just as sterilized or fried seeds do not produce plants. Living entities are subjected to the repetition of birth and death because they are conditioned by material nature. But since you are transcendental, one who is inclined to associate with you in transcendence escapes the condition of material nature.
Here, Citraketu Maharaj is saying that, O Supreme Lord, desires for material pleasure directed to you, who are composed of spiritual knowledge and are different from the material gunas, do not produce further material bodies, just as roasted seeds do not grow. The networks of duality causing rebirth arises from the material gunas. Normally, when we perform an activity, that activity will come back with certain results. Sometimes that results can be in the form of rebirth in heavenly planets or hellish planets and here, there, etc. Whatever it is. So every action of ours has a great scope of rebirth. But when the same activity as is performed as an offering to Supreme Lord, even though that activity may be filled with so many material desires, but that activity does not lead to rebirth. Here, Citraketu Maharaj explains with a analogy that in the case of performance of karma, jnana, yoga and all, it is like the seed. Even the same point is again referred by Satyavrata, King Satyavrata in 8th canto, when he was offering prayers unto Lord Matsya, who protected him during the time of Pralaya. He says that, so performing karma, performing jnana, and performing yoga are like keeping the seeds in go down, or keeping the seeds under sunlight, or keeping the seeds in somewhere in a safe position. So, and in the future, whenever there is a good opportunity, when you sow them in the ground, they will again sprout and grow into the beautiful trees. But performing bhakti is like roasting the seeds. When you roast the seed, if you sow that roasted seed, it will never ever become a plant. So this is the comparison that is given between the performance of an activity with a desire in Karma Yoga, in Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. In Karma Yoga is like already soaking in the water. Like next day morning it becomes sprouts. Karma Yoga means immediately they'll become sprouts. And Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga are like keeping them in the storeroom or keeping under sunlight. Jnana Yoga involves a lot of tapasya. But still the seed will never get damaged when there is barish, when there is rain, and if you put it in the ground, it will grow further. Nothing will happen to you. Even though as long as you keep in the sunlight, it will not roast. It will remain as it is. But only when you put on the fire and roast it, it will never produce any grain. That is called bhakti. That means, of course, we'll see the notes, it will be explained very nicely. This verse shows the excellence of the devotees by Kaumutika Nyaya. If desires for kingdom or other things are placed in you, then they will not result in getting another birth. Just as roasted seeds do not sprout, because those objects take on good qualities. Even though if a person approaches the Supreme Lord with a material desire, like Dhruva Maharaj came to Supreme Lord Vishnu with a desire to become the king of the universe. He became the king, he got the position, but he did not take birth again. He attained liberation. That is the specialty. But if the desires are placed elsewhere in Devata worship, they sprout up. Because as long as Devatas are there, their blessings will be there, one is living auspiciously, but afterward the Devatas are, the tenure is over, this person has to come back and take birth again in Bharatavarsha. They are not like roasted seeds. You are pure spiritual knowledge devoid of material objects. How the Devata worship, the practice of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, they actually nourish or maintain the seeds. But in the case of Bhakti, the seeds are completely transformed. How? Because the Devatas, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga are within 3 modes. Everything within 3 modes has the great potency of taking rebirth. But Bhakti is transcendental. Even though it is a material desire, if it is offered to Supreme Lord, even that material desire also becomes transcendental. Because it is offered to the Supreme Lord, it is offered in Bhakti, both of you who are transcendental. That is how it is transformed. Just as an object which falls in a well of juice becomes juicy, when those material desires enter you, they become spiritual. How then can they be a cause of continued samsara? The nets of duality arising from the gunas are the cause of samsara. But in other case, even all the way up to Ashtanga Yoga, they are all within three modes of material nature, within Sattva Guna. So the gunas always cause rebirth. Anything within three gunas causes rebirth, but anything beyond three gunas does not cause any rebirth. So both Bhakti and Supreme Lord are transcendental. So anything offered to them is transformed into transcendental. Thus, they do not cause any rebirth, which is the main thing of the three modes. So that's how Citraketu Maharaj is saying that even though if a person comes to you with desires, that person becomes transcendental. There will be no more rebirth for that person. So like that. If a person with material desires comes to you becomes transcendental, then what to speak of if a person comes to you without any material desires? What will happen to him? That will be mentioned in the next verse. Jitam ajita tada bhavata
जितमजित तदा भवता
yadaha bhagavatam dharmamanavadyam
यदाह भागवतं धर्ममनवद्यम्
nishkinchanaye munaya
निष्किञ्चनाये मुनय
atma ramayam upasate pavargaya.
आत्मा रामायवासते प्रवर्गाय. O unconquerable one, when you spoke about Bhagavad Dharma, which is the uncontaminated religious system for achieving the shelter of your lotus feet, that was your victory. Persons who have no material desires, like the Kumaras, who are self-satisfied sages, worship you to be liberated from material contamination. In other words, they accept the process of Bhagavad Dharma to achieve shelter at your lotus feet.
O unconquered Lord, when you spoke about pure bhakti, the path which the devotees who meditate on you and enjoy in you follow for attaining prema, the devotees were conquered by you. As Lord Krishna says, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshavagamam Dharnasya Sukham Kartum Avyayam. And then it's like that. Tesham Nityabhyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. So such kind of verses, Lord Krishna indicates the nature of the pure devotional service. So when somebody takes unto that such kind of pure devotional service, Lord will be conquered by such devotees, and the devotees conquered by Lord's love and affection towards that devotee. This is again same as first verse. If connection to the previous verse, if this is the excellence of bhakti with material desires because of your power, then how much more bhakti without material desires will yield? This is Kaumitika. So if material desires, if somebody comes to Supreme Lord, they become transcendental, then what to speak of somebody coming to Supreme Lord without any material desire? That is Ananya Bhakti. Then what will happen? They will attain prema easily and they will conquer the Supreme Lord and they will be conquered by the Supreme Lord. That is what happens. However, this Nishkama Bhakti is instigated by you. Your victory over your devotees who are Nishkama mentioned in verse 34 is caused by you, who are so merciful and desire to be controlled by your devotees. That is your special victory. That is explained in this verse. So why Lord becomes controlled by the devotees? Because of this. Because the devotees are serving the Lord without any selfish agenda, selfish motive and selfish desires. They only want to serve the Lord just to attain the love of Godhead. That conquers the Lord. O unconquered Lord, when you spoke about Nishkama Bhakti of the devotees become indebted to you. You are conquered by devotees through that Nishkama Bhakti. But that Bhakti was spoken by you only. That is your good quality. Thus, the devotees are indebted to you for the rest of eternity. Even though the devotees are practicing Nishkama Bhakti, but they are getting inspiration by the words spoken by the Supreme Lord. It is by Lord's inspiration the devotees are practicing Nishkama Bhakti. As a result of that, they are able to conquer the Lord, and Lord is becoming indebted to such devotees. This is all Lord's greatness. Those who are pure from the beginning, as well as those sages who, by association with the pure devotees, gave up their previous ideas, that means material desires, and some Jivan Muktas who achieved their position by austerity, follow the Dharma. So there are some devotees who are Nishkama from the very beginning, and there are some devotees who become Nishkama by the mercy of some other pure devotees or by their strong practices. Either way, somebody can become pure. Or the two words Munayaha and Atma Rama can modify Nishkinchana. So the Atma Rama sages and the Munayas, the great sages who perform austerities, eventually when they become purified by the blessings of some great souls, they will become Nishkinchana, no material desires. The pure devotees who continuously contemplated you and derived pleasure from you follow this Nishkinchana Bhakti or Nishkinchana Dharma. So in this verse, the word Apavargaya is used. Apavargaya here means for that goal to which the four Vargas of Dharmartha Kama Moksha are inferior. Apavargaya. That means the Chatur Vargas Dharmartha Kama Moksha are inferior to this, the fifth goal, this Panchama Purushartha, that is Prema. Our Apavarga can mean Bhakti, as it is stated in 5:19:20. 5th canto, 19th chapter, text number 20. Apavarga is indicated as Bhakti. Liberation, that is Apavarga, okay, whose essential nature is unmotivated Bhakti Yoga to the Supreme Lord, full of wonderful qualities, who attracts the mind of all beings, who is not the object of merging, who is not described by material words, who remains beyond destruction of the universe, who is the most excellent Atma, that is Paramatma, who is the son of Vasudeva, takes place by destruction of the knot of ignorance, which causes various material goals. The ignorance is causes various material goals. When that is destroyed by bhakti, when there is association with the devotees of the Lord, that will be destroyed when one comes in the association of great devotees, and bhakti will be produced by which the Supreme Lord is pleased by the devotees. Thus one attains Apavarga. Here Apavarga means Krishna Prema, not Sahajya Mukti. So in that way, so if one comes to Supreme Lord with material desires, one becomes transcendental, free from any material desires, and can become Sadhana Siddha. But if one comes to Supreme Lord without any material desires, they will easily and quickly get Krishna Prema, by which they will control the Supreme Lord, and Supreme Lord is controlled by them. That is a benefit one can attain by Nishkinchana Bhakti. That is indicated by Privrat Maharaj. Sorry, Citraketu Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Ah,
Prabhuji, in the previous verse, it was mentioned that roasted seed example was given. So in that means that material desires are completely burned out for the devotees. Like that, it has to be understood. They never sprout. The material desires never sprout like that. That is the understanding. And
Yes.
here, like in this verse, what we discussed now, Prabhuji. So there means those who come to Lord with some desires, but they also have bhakti, they will get, means they will, their material desires will disappear. Lord will purify them, but they will not achieve prema. They can achieve liberation. Like, is it the right understanding?
It's not about liberation. So the previous verse says that even if somebody comes to Supreme Lord with material desires, even if Lord fulfills their material desires, that will not cause bondage in this material world. Along with fulfilling their material desires, Lord also awards them entry into Vaikuntha because they came to Supreme Lord. Maybe in Dasya Bhav. But if somebody approaches Supreme Lord without any material desires, they will very quickly attain Krishna Prema. That is the difference. Actually, the first case, even in the NOD, it is indicated that if a devotee approaches Supreme Lord with material desires, they will enter into Vaikuntha and they get generally Sarishti or Salokya Mukti. But if somebody comes to Supreme Lord with service attitude, exclusively to serve the Supreme Lord, they will get Vaikuntha, but they get Sarupya and Samupya Muktis, where they have full-fledged opportunity to serve the Lord. Since they are interested in serving the Lord, even though they may have all the Vaikuntha opulence, they are not interested in them. They are only interested in service. This is again explained in the future verses. There is a slight difference, you can say.
Yeah, so they get the direct association of the Lord. Like you always explain that somebody maybe living in Bombay, but some remote like suburb, so they will be very much away from the temple. They will not get opportunity to come
Yes,
to
yes,
temple
yes,
and
yes,
like
yes,
that.
yes.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, serving the Lord means in Dasya Bhav. So, what is the difference between those who go in Dasya Bhav to Vaikuntha and those who go in Dasya Bhav to Golok Vrindavan? Like, what is the difference in that Dasya?
In Vaikuntha, there is always awe and reverence. In Goloka, the awe and reverence is replaced by spontaneity and intimacy. See, it's like there is a king, and king had so many servants. They also they are serving the king, but they always have great respect for king. You cannot have some familiarity with king. But otherwise, normal householder, they also have some servants. So there could be some familiarity.
Okay, yes.
You are getting?
Yes, Prabhuji, I got it. It's
Yeah,
more
even
formal.
in our
in
day-to-day
Vaikuntha.
observation, some of you might be having someone who will be coming and assisting in various household activities. They come and do some service and go, and there is some intimacy. There is not the difference. We will not show so much, and we don't treat them like, oh, you are simple sir. Like in the temple also, we have so many staff, so they also have prasadam along with us. They also attend programs and everything. So there is not so much uh, separateness, but the same servant in the case of a king, there is always there is a great respect and great distance also. There is not
Right.
much intimacy. So in that way.
In Vaikuntha, it is more formal atmosphere. And
Yes,
in
yes,
Golok, it is more personal.
yes.
Yes, thank you.
Other devotees have any questions? Okay.
No, Prabhuji.
Vishamamatirna yatra nunam
Vishamamatirna yatra nrunam
tvamaham iti mama taveti jayad anyatra
Vamahamiti mama taveti cha yadanyatra
vishamadiya rachito yaha
Vishamadhiya rachito yaha
sahi avishuddha kshaishnur adharma bahula.
Sahi avishuddha kshaishnuradharma bahula. Being full of contradictions, all forms of religion but Bhagavad Dharma work under conceptions of fruitive results and distinctions of you and I. And mind. The followers of Srimad Bhagavatam have no such consciousness. They are all Krishna conscious, thinking that they are Krishna's and Krishna is theirs. There are other low-class religious systems which are contemplated for the killing of enemies or the gain of mystic power. But such religious systems, being full of passion and envy, are impure and temporary. Because they are full of envy, they are full of irreligion.
In Bhakti Yoga, there is no conception of difference such as you and I, yours and mine. In Kamya Dharma, however, the conception of differences is produced. That dharma is impure, perishable, and full of violence. In Bhakti Yoga, there are no conceptions and mind. This verse speaks of the mentality of difference caused by hatred. This is mine, this is yours, I am this, you are that, this is my enemy, this is my friend. Other than this, Bhakti Yoga, in Dharma for material goals, conceptions of differences are produced, such as the desire to kill an enemy. Kama Dharma is criticized. That means people perform dharma for the purpose of fulfilling their own personal desires, leads to all such kind of difference of opinions. People become impure, people are attached to perishable things, and people cause violence to others for their own gain. So, in that way, but this is not the case in bhakti. So, therefore, Chitraketu is criticizing this Kama Dharma. That the Kama Dharma is getting criticized. That Dharma is impure since it is made up of attraction and hatred, and it is subjected to destruction since its results are temporary. It is full of adharma since violence is prominent in such Kama Dharmas. Shavara Swami has said, Ubayam iha Chodanayam lakshate artho anarthascha. Dharma and adharma are seen in the rules for Kama Dharma. In the case of Kama Karmas, we generally see the concept of dharmic and adharmic activities. This is Dharma, this is Dharma. This kind of distinction is we can generally see in the Kama Dharmas. But otherwise, in the case of Bhakti, there is no much discussion about adharma. When somebody is a devotee, obviously not expected to do any dharmic activities. So there is no need of any discussion about adharma. That's how it is hinted by Chitraketu Maharaj. That means such bhaktas are not at all selfish. They only have, because they want to serve the Lord selflessly, they are coming to Lord selflessly. How can they deal with people in general surrounding them with a selfish mentality? If at all they want to attain Krishna Prema, they can't be selfish with surrounding people. So, in that intent, he's speaking this verse.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Kamya Dharma means the Dharma which teaches to have means worship of the Lord with some kamana. Is
No, not
the right?
necessarily the Lord. In general, Kama Dharma means Dharmartha Kama. People, they make their life goal is only Dharmartha Kama. They generally, they want to get enjoyment by following Dharma only, but at the cost of causing trouble to others.
Like Prabhuji, the cost of causing trouble to others means those who do the animal killing as a yajna.
Yes. They perform yajna to go to Swarga, but by the way, they are killing the animals. So something like that. Or even one step ahead, only they want to go to Swarga, let others suffer here. So for their own activity, they usurp others' properties and they attain. So something like that. So thus there is little dharma in that.
But like Prabhuji, like we see so many kings and all also they used to do so many yajnas, means Ashwamedh yajna and all like that. So,
No, that is for what they are doing, that we have to see. You cannot say kings are doing yajna. That is not just for getting some results in return. The kings do because that is their responsibility. They have to do it for the maintenance of the entire kingdom, for the prosperity of the kingdom. So such king is not selfish. If somebody is doing yajna only just to go to Sarga himself, spending the money of the entire kingdom, so that is selfish nature, causing trouble to others and himself is trying to enjoy.
yeah, but like Prabhuji means I don't know, but means we saw na in case of Kunti Maharani's prayers and other prayers also that when Lord glances on a particular piece of land or something, and when Lord is pleased, by his glance only the land becomes prosperous. Like that, even Kunti Maharani said. So, means why the kings needed to do the animal sacrifice yagya for bringing prosperity to the kingdom.
No,
Sorry.
that is Shastra recommendation. In general, that is Shastra recommendation. Every time you cannot say that Lord is coming and glancing. So when the kings perform yajna, The yajna oblations are offered to the Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other devatas. And they may not directly come, but they show their glance upon that particular place. The place becomes prosperous. Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhava yajnat bhavanti parjanyu. How become prosperous? By rains. How rains will come? Rains will come by performance of yajna. So this is the simplest process.
Okay, so practically implementing model has to go through yajna only. Okay,
Okay,
Prabhuji, thank you.
we'll go ahead. Kakshemo nija parayoho
Kakshemo nija parayo
druhad dharmena
iyan varta swapara druha dharmena
svadrohat tava kopaha
vadroha tava kopa
para sampedya cha tata dharmaha.
para sampidaya cha tatha dharma. How can a religious system that produces envy of oneself and of others be beneficial for oneself and for them? What is auspicious about following such a system? What is actually to be gained? By causing pain to one's own self due to self envy, and by causing pain to others, one arouses your anger and practices irreligion.
What is the benefit or goal of thinking oneself and others as objects of one's possessions? That dharma causes violence to oneself and others. For by inflicting pain on one's own body in the form of austerities, in order to afflict enemies, one develops anger and sin. The previous statement is made clear. What is the benefit of thinking oneself and others objects which are mine, such as sons and wife? There is no benefit. So one may say that, yo, this body is mine, the family members are mine, this house is mine, this car is mine, this wealth is mine, this is mine, they are all meant for my enjoyment, something like that. By that, there is violence to oneself and others, because by performing austerities which inflict pain on one's own body, for committing violence to others, one becomes angry and becomes sinful. So, in one sense, when we have the mentality of possessiveness, so this body is mine and these people are mine and this is mine, that is mine. So, obviously, that mine will lead to conflict with somebody else. So, in that conflict, there is a possibility of causing trouble to oneself or causing trouble to others, causing pain to oneself, causing pain to others. So, like that, and in the way one ends up performing sin or adharma. So, like a normal understanding in the previous verse, as we mentioned that in the devotee, within the devotees, there is no concept of I and mine. So, there is no concept of dharma and adharma. Everything is meant for our Lord's service. So, there is no need to discuss about the concept of dharma and adharma. But in the case of people in general, there is dharma and adharma. How this dharma and adharma concept is coming? Because people in general, we say that this is mine, these are mine, and that is somebody else's. So that mine and yours causes some trickle between the people, that causes the performance of sinful activities. So in that way, how and all details he is not explaining, but he is telling the principle. So this concept of me and mine will cause enmity, violence, sin, etc. So then he further continues. Na vyabhicharati taveksha
न व्यभिचरति तवेक्षाम्
तया हि अभिहितो भागवतो धर्मः
यया हि अभिहितो भागवतो धर्मः
स्थिरचरसत्त्वका कदम्बेषु
स्थिरचरसत्त्वकदम्बेष्व
अपृथग् धियोऽयम् उपासते त्वार्या.
Aprithak dhiyoyam upasate tva arya. My dear Lord, one's occupational duty is instructed in Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita according to your point of view, which never deviates from the highest goal of life. Those who follow their occupational duties under your supervision, being equal to all living entities, moving and non moving, and not considering high and low, are called Aryans. Such Aryans worship you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Your judgment by which bhakti is defined does not waver. Cultured people who see all beings equally and practice this Bhagavad Dharma. Only aprutak diya, those who do not have separatist mentality, can practice Bhagavad Dharma, and such kind of people are called Arya, and such kind of people's mind will never waver away from Bhagavad Dharma. People follow Kama Dharma even though it is temporary and full of faults because they see the results. They have doubt to follow Nishkamaka Dharma, though it is faultless because they do not see the results. The Kama Dharma produces results immediately, but Bhagavad Dharma will not produce results immediately because since they don't see results immediately, they don't put their faith upon Bhagavad Dharma. Instead, they put faith in the Kama Dharma and they practice. As Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Kshipram hi manushe loke. Because the Kama Dharmas are producing the results immediately, that's why they worship Devatas so much so. Bhagavad Dharma, one need to be a little patient. So in that way. Your judgment that the Jiva becomes successful by bhakti to you does not waver. But the results of Bhagavad Dharma are eternal. The results of Kama Dharma are temporary. In Kama Dharma, the results sometimes are unsteady. But in Bhakti, under your supervision, the results are not at all unsteady. Therefore, only the cultured people perform Bhakti. Let the uncultured people have their doubts. Such cultured persons have intelligence which does not see happiness and distress in oneself and others as different. Apratak diya. Apratak diya means one does not see the happiness and misery of oneself and others as different. One sees the happiness of others as one's own happiness, one sees the misery of others as one's own misery. Such kind of person is called apratak diya. Only they will practice bhakti without any confusion, without any doubt, and such kind of people only will attain Krishna prema. Others will move from this devata to that devata, here to there, so they are not steady. So, like Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandina Baushakayi anantasya buddhayo avyavasayina. So the Kama Dharmis are Bahushaka and Prutak Diyas are Bhagavad Dharmis are Vyavasayatmika. So in that way we have to see. Nahi Bhagavan Agatitam idam
नहि भगवन्न घटितमिदम्
Swadharshanan Runam Akila Papakshayah
त्वद्दर्शनानृणामखिलपापक्षयः
Yannama Sakra Shravanavanath
यन्नाम सकृत् श्रवणावनात्
Pukkasopi Vimucheta Samsarat.
उत्कर्षोऽपि विमुच्यते संसारात्. My Lord, it is not impossible for one to be immediately freed from all material contaminations by seeing you. Not to speak of seeing you personally, merely by hearing the holy name of your Lordship only once, even Chandalas, men of the lowest class, are freed from all material contamination. Under the circumstances, who will not be freed from material contaminations simply by seeing you?
O Lord, nothing is impossible for you. Just from seeing you, all my sins have been destroyed. By hearing one of your names once, even the outcast is delivered from the material world. So Srila Prabhupada quotes this phrase many times. Pukkasopi vimuccheta samsarat yennama sakrit shravanat. So even in the third canto, we see that when Mother Devahuti offers prayers to Lord Kapila, she also offers a prayer of similar nature. There she also tells the similar thing. Ennama Shravananu Kirtanad, Ennamadeya Shravananu Kirtanad, Ya Pravanad, Ya Smaranad Api Kvachit. Swadopi Sadhya Shravanaya Kalpate, Kuta Punaste Bhagavanu Darshanad. Swadopi Sadhya Savanaya Kalpate. Even a Swado, the dog eater, even somebody is born in the family of dog eaters, if they take shelter of your holy name, they will become or they will be respected as a Brahmana who is qualified to perform an yajna. Then what to speak of somebody who will have your darshan? Just by taking your name, one can get that kind of position. If somebody has your darshan direct in person, what will happen to that? So even if somebody takes your name once, even the pukkaso api vimucche samsarat. Nothing is impossible for you, O Lord. Just from seeing you, all my sins have been destroyed. By hearing one of your holy name, one of your names once, even the outcast is delivered from the material world. Pukkasa means outcast. Chandala. I have obtained direct results of this pure bhakti. What to speak of destruction of sins? It gives liberation. Just one name is sufficient to do this. Then what will happen by many names? Even Sakrit means once. Like Lord Rama says, Sakrudeva prapannoya tavasmiti cha yachate. Abhayam sarvada tasmai. Etadeva vartam mama. When Vibhishana comes, Lord Rama said that even if one says, I am yours, my dear Lord, Lord said that I am give abhaya for the rest of eternity. In the same way, if you take once the Lord's name, that is sufficient to do this. So what is that? Destruction of sins and awarding liberation, even awarding pure bhakti. Then what to speak of chanting many names? And just one time hearing is sufficient. Then what happens when one hears many times? Just by hearing the name, this happens. What then will happen if one chant the name? Just by hearing only this is happening. Then what to speak of chanting? This this is happening for outcast. Then what will happen for others? Even if outcast is getting this, then what to speak of the normal people? It delivers one from the material world. Then what to speak of destroying all sins? And one sees the results during the practice. Then what to speak of the perfection? All these results one can see even while practicing only. Then what to speak of the what kind of results one can get after perfection? So this is like Atishayokti or Kaumitika Nyaya. At this point of time only we are able to see this many results. Then what to speak of at the end? Therefore, please take the name or please take the bhakti very seriously. So this is basically this indicates the power of or the greatness of bhakti consisting of chanting and hearing of Lord's holy names. So in that way.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
Prabhuji, in this verse translation, in the book first line is written that, my Lord, it is not impossible for one to be immediately freed from all material contamination by seeing you. And then last line, it comes that by seeing you, one will be delivered from all material contamination. So, like, how to understand it?
No, it is same, na. It is if you say it is impossible, that will not happen. It is not impossible means it obviously will happen. So if by chanting Lord's holy name it is happening, then what to speak of seeing the Lord? Obviously it will happen. So like that. The meaning is like that.
Okay, so that seeing the Lord, it applies to actually seeing the Lord or taking darshan of Archa Vigraha or anything?
No. Seeing the Lord. Just like no king is seeing the Lord.
Okay, actual seeing them.
Ah.
Okay. Yeah.
See, for
And
example,
also,
in example, Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj met Narada Muni. he did not give up his desire. That means Dhromara saw Narada Muni, he did not give up his desire. When the same Dhromara saw Lord Vishnu, he did not hold any desire. In fact, he begged the Lord, please forgive me. I came to you asking for some material benedictions. Please don't fulfill those desires.
Yeah, right. And Prabhuji, this it's whatever is said now, like but just by hearing the name, one will be delivered. So what to speak of chanting, like so hearing the name means hearing from a pure devotee like Haridas Thakurji or like that should be understood because
No need to analyze so much. That means, as we discussed in the beginning also, the holy name has that power. That doesn't mean that it should happen with everyone and every time. It can happen also. With everyone also it can happen. But we may not be able to see right now. But it is all powerful. It is, but also it deserves the rights where to show and where not to show.
okay.
So we cannot question, okay, if it is powerful, why it is not happening with me? It should show with me. That demand we cannot do.
So it is not that in all cases we'll be able to see the result. It is wherever holy name wants to show the result, they are only able to see like that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
अथ भगवन् वयमधूना
अथ भगवान् वयमधुना
त्वदवलोकपरिमृष्टाशयमलः
त्वदवलोकपरिमृष्टस्य अमला
सुरऋषिणा यत् कथितं
सुरऋषिणा यत् कथितं
तावकेन कथम् अन्यथा भवति.
तावकेन कथम् अन्यथा भवति. Therefore, my dear Lord, simply seeing you has now wiped away all the contamination of sinful activities and the results of material attachment and lusty desires, which always filled my mind and the core of my heart. Whatever is predicted by the great sage Narada Muni cannot be otherwise. In other words, I have obtained your audience as a result of being trained by Narada Muni.
Yeah. O Lord, my heart has now been completely purified by your glance. How can what Narada told not come true? I have become completely successful. So he himself is a case study now. So Narada Muni told, I followed, and you appeared by your glance. Everything has been cleared. Viditam ananta samastam
Viditam ananta samastam.
tava jagad atmano janair ihacharitam
Tava jagat atmano janair iha charitam.
vignapyam paramaguroho
Vidnyapam Vidnyapyam Paramaguruho.
kiyad iva savitur iva kadyotai.
Kiyad iva savitur iva kadyotai. O unlimited Supreme Personality of Godhead, whatever a living entity does in this material world is well known to you because you are the Super Soul. In the presence of the sun, there is nothing to be revealed by the light of a glowworm. Similarly, because you know everything, in your presence, there is nothing for me to make known.
O unlimited Lord, everything done by the people in this world is known to you because Lord is Paramatma, the soul of the entire universe, the Supreme Guru. How much do we know in comparison to you? Our knowledge in comparison of yours is like a firefly's light compared to the sunlight. Though I was blind with material enjoyment inspired by your devotee, that is Angira Rishi and Narada Muni, I was delivered from the well of samsara and brought to your lotus feet. What else can I reveal? So in the previous verse, he said, I have become completely successful. So what kind of success he got is explaining in the current verse. So previously he was after marrying one after other in order to get a child. But now he had obtained the darshan of the Supreme Lord by following the teachings of Narada Muni. Everything is known to you. What can be revealed by a firefly in front of the sun, and what can be revealed by me in front of you? So in that way. So after stating this, finally, our king will offer his obeisances and conclude his prayers. Namastubhyam Bhagavate
Namastubhyam Bhagavate
Sakala Jagat Sthiti Layodayeshaya
Sakala Jagat Sthiti Layodayeshaya
Duravasitatmagataye
Duravasitatmagataye
Kuyoginam Vida Paramahamsaya.
Kuyoginam Vida Paramahansaya. My dear Lord, you are the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of this cosmic manifestation. But persons who are too materialistic and who always see separateness do not have eyes with which to see you. They cannot understand your real position, and therefore they conclude that the cosmic manifestation is independent of your opulence. My Lord, you are the supreme pure, and you are full in all six opulences. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
Yeah, he is offering obeisances to the Lord, concluding his prayers. I offer respects to you, the Supreme Lord, the Master of creation, maintenance, and destruction of all universes, the Supreme Span, Paramahamsa, whose position is hard to understand for the false yogis. Kuyoginam no. Okay? And who sees the difference? Why they can't understand? Because they see differences. Bida. Your position is hard to understand by the false yogis who see with difference. In the form of the great span, you deliver all the living entities. So this is the summary of all his prayers till now. And last of the prayer, he says that Yam vai swashantamanu vishwa srujashvashanti
Yam vai swashantamanu vishwasrijaswasanti.
Yam che kitanamanu chittaya ucchakanti
Yam che kitanamanu chittaya uchchakanti.
Bhumandalam sarsapayati yasya murdni
Bhumandalam saraswapayati yasya murdini.
तस्मै नमो भगवतोऽस्तु सहस्रमूर्ध्ने.
Tasmai namo bhagavate stu sahasramurdhane. My dear Lord, it is after you endeavor that Lord Brahma, Indra, and other directors of the cosmic manifestations become occupied with their activities. It is after you perceive the material energy, my Lord, that the senses begin to perceive. The Supreme Personality of Godhead holds all the universes on his heads like seeds of mustard. I offer my respectful obeisance unto you, that Supreme Personality who has thousands of fruits. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So in this verse, the two different forms of the Supreme Lord are described. One form of the Supreme Lord is as Mahavishnu, and one of the Mahavishnu's expansions is Shesha. As Shesha, what he does is also being glorified. So previously we saw in the beginning how Sankarshana expanding as Mahavishnu does creation, maintenance, and destruction, and that kind of summary is giving now. May I offer respect to the Supreme Lord with 1,000 hoods. So that Mahavishnu expands as Shesha, who has 1,000 hoods. After whose actions the creators of the universe can use their action senses. After use perception, the knowledge senses can gather knowledge. That means it is by the presence of Paramatma in the core of the heart. It is Mahavishnu who expands as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and Shivadakshaya Vishnu who expands as Antaryami and situated in the heart of everyone. It is only by the presence of the Antaryami we are able to perform each and every activity with the help of our senses. Unless until the Paramatma sanctions, we cannot do anything. As Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarvasya Chaham Udisannvishto Matta Smriti Jnanam Apohanam Cha, and Ishvara Sarvabhutana Murdesh Arjuntisti Brahmayan Entarudani Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudani Maya. Our body is like Yantra, and that body is performing all the activities only because of the presence of Paramatma. Who is that Paramatma? An expansion of Kshirodaksha Vishnu is the expansion of Garbhodaksha Vishnu is the expansion of Karmadaksha Vishnu is the expansion of Lord Sankarsana. Similarly, the same Lord Sankarsana has another expansion known as Shesha. That Shesha has 1,000 hoods, and on whose head the Bhumandala rests like a mustard seed. So here, this verse we have also discussed in the fifth canto discussion. Bhumandalam sarsapayanti yasya murdni. The Lord who has 1,000 hoods, on one of his hoods the Bhumandala is resting. But Srila Prabhupada is translating it as on thousands of hoods, thousands of universes are resting. That's why we have the ISKCON painting where they put Lord Shesha outside the universe and universe is kept on the hood. But we have seen in the fifth canto that Lord Shesha is inside the universe and is holding the Bhumandala upon his hood, but not the universe. Sashantam means actions. After the Lord's actions, the Devatas can use their action senses. After the Lord sees, the Lord's senses can pursue their sense object. Basically, it is when Paramatma allows our senses perform their respective activities. Otherwise, the senses remain inactive without being enabled by Paramatma. That is He. And to that Lord, our King is offering his wonderful prayers. So, of course, Lord's glories are there. They may be very remote. But what we can relate to is our whole body is functioning only because of Lord's presence as Paramatma within the core of our heart. So, how can we ignore Him? So, like that, we can see His close connection with us. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, sorry, Prabhuji, but like means we have studied in fifth canto. You have also explained many times that Lord Ananta is holding the Bhumandala and not the universes. But then, why again and again in Bhagavatam this reference comes that Lord means Ananta is holding so many universes on his head, like.
That's what, na? That is the see. That is actually He's doing. Otherwise, it is He by whose presence we are able to sustain. We are able to live. We have to understand that. Just like a family head is working very hard to maintain the family members, they should have that gratitude. So, in one sense, this is one of the easiest way of connecting things that Lord is maintainer. How is He maintaining? First of all, He is maintaining us by holding the Bhumandala. If He is not holding the Bhumandala will fall into Garbhodak ocean. Can you live floating in the Garbhodak ocean? How long you will live?
That is understood, Prabhuji, but then I'm just trying to understand that why then Bhagavatam has to write, means Bhagavatam can mention that he's holding Bhumandala. Why
Huh.
they mention that he's holding universes and they look like mustard seed. Means even going ahead to
No.
give that.
See, that is a translation. Again, why you are getting into universes? See, Srila Prabhupada writes it like that because people are not familiar with these technical terms. Many times Prabhupada uses that. No, don't get into
So
analysis.
in the Prabhuji, in the shloka, it is mentioned Bhumandalam only.
Ah, yes. That's what I'm saying, na, from Shloka point of view. See, in the beginning days, if Prabhupada starts saying that Bhumandala, who will understand?
Okay. It's for the
So,
general people understanding like that.
this we discussed many times also previously.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We'll have a small break. If somebody else has questions, we'll take after the break. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Devotees are there? Any devotees have any questions? Other devotees?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. So till now, King Citraketu offered his wonderful prayers. Now, Lord Sankarshana will respond. Sri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shuka Uvacha
Samsuto Bhagavanevam
Samstuto Bhagwan Evam
Anantastam Abhashata
Anantasvam Abhashata
Vyadhara Patim Pritas
Vidyadhara Patim Pritash
Citraketum Kurudvaha.
Chitraketum Kurudvaha. Shukadev Goswami continued, the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Anantadev, being very much pleased with the prayers offered by Chitraketu, the king of the Vidyadharas, replied to him as follows. O best of the Kuru dynasty, Maharaj Parikshit.
So Sukadeva Goswami is already identifying him as king of Vidyadharas, because we saw in the previously, after 7 days he got the position of Vidyadharas, and he further continued chanting the mantra. He had darshan of Lord Sankarshana. So and hence he has addressed as King Vidyadharapatim. O Maharaj Parishit, the Supreme Lord Anantadeva, pleased with the prayers offered by Chitraketu, the king of Vidyadharas, replied to him as follows. So now Lord Sankarshana replies. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Yennāradāngīro Bhayam te
Yannāradāngīrobhyam te
Vyahrutam me Nushāsanam
Vyahrutam me Anushāsanam
Samsiddhosi taya Rajan
Samsiddhositaya Rajan
Vidyaya Darshanacha me.
Vidyaya Darshanachya me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Anantadeva, replied as follows. O King, as a result of your having accepted the instructions spoken about me by the great sages Narada and Angira, you have become completely aware of transcendental knowledge. Because you are now educated in the spiritual science, you have seen me face to face. Therefore, you are now completely perfect.
The Lord is saying that by the mantra, by knowledge of my worship explained by Narada and Angira, and by seeing me, you have become perfect. So Lord saying that, my dear king, you are perfect now. How? By chanting the mantra, by the instructions received from Narada Muni and Angira Rishi, and by following them, and finally by having darshan of mine, you have become completely perfect. By the knowledge of my worship in the form of hearing and chanting, and by the great mantra taught by Narada, and by the result of that, seeing me, you have achieved perfection. You have understood about bhakti. Your verses of praise are the proof. The Lord saying that, Lord Sankarshana saying that, my dear king, you have attained perfection. What kind of perfection? You have thoroughly understood the nature of bhakti. How? Your prayers are the proof. From your prayers, I can understand that you had complete knowledge of bhakti. I will now teach about jnana in order that you become indifferent to questioning. Please listen. You should consider this. Though you have become perfect in your understanding of bhakti, but you still lack in understanding of jnana. Now I will teach you some jnana. Please listen. So with this point, Lord Sankarshana will teach the jnana of this material existence, which is required because previously when Krutaduti was questioning the Supreme Lord, or in one sense, Krutaduti was criticizing the Lord with the death of her son. King Citraketu was sitting next to her and he was kind of echoing with the sentiments of his wife, where both wife and husband do not have the proper understanding of jnana. Though it was emotional talk, but in any case, He was not endowed with a proper understanding of what is what. The Lord want to give that knowledge now. So next 4 verses, text number 51, 52, 53, 54, in fact 55, 56. So like 5, 6 verses actually reveal what is the nature of this material world, which is the fundamental basis for the jnana practitioners. So this knowledge is very much essential for everyone, but especially for the jnana practitioners. With this knowledge, they develop complete detachment from this material existence and they want to attain liberation as quickly as possible, and hence they become very serious in their practices. Even if we have understood this knowledge thoroughly, we also become serious in our bhakti practice. Of course, studying is something, hearing is something, understanding is something different only. We may study, we may hear, but the day we understand, we become serious in our bhakti practice. So this is the power of this knowledge. So let us try to see what Lord Sankarsana had to offer. Aham vai sarva bhutani
Aham vai sarva bhutani
bhutatma bhuta bhavanaha
bhutatma bhuta bhavana
shabda brahma param brahma
shabda brahma param brahma
mamo be shashvati tanu.
mamo be shashwati tanu. All living entities, moving and non-moving, are my expansions and are separate from me. I am this superstore of all living beings who exist because I manifest them. I am the form of the transcendental vibrations like Omkara and Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, and I am the supreme absolute truth. These two forms of mine, namely the transcendental sound and the eternally blissful spiritual form of the deity, are my eternal forms. They are not material. Hare Krishna.
So here Lord is saying that this is a cryptic verse. Infinite amount of knowledge is concisely presented in a small poem. I am all beings. Aham vai sarva bhutani. I am all beings. I am the soul of all beings. Bhutatma. I am the Paramatma, all living entities. And I am the cause of all beings. Bhuta Bhavana. That means I am the creator. What was that first verse of the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita? Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattam sarvam pravartate. Aham sarvasya prabhava. Sarvasya prabhava means everything is coming from me. So I am Bhuta Bhavana. In that way. Because everything is come from me, I am everything. Aham vai sarva bhutani. And also I am the Paramatma of everyone. The scripture and impersonal Brahman are my two eternal forms. Shabda Brahma means Vedic literatures. Parabrahma means the impersonal Parabrahma, Brahmajyoti. Mama Ube Shashvati Tanu. These two are my eternal forms. They are non-different from me. So now, in an analytic way, analytically, if you analyze this verse, what it means is explained in the first paragraph. In a theoretical way, in an explanatory way, if you explain this verse, what it comes in the second paragraph. So what was there in the first paragraph of the notes, we see in this slide. The explanation we'll see in the next slide. So what Lord Sankarsana is trying to give is, in this entire creation, there are two types of real objects, permanent and temporary. So the creation is consisting of two types of real objects. Some of them are permanent, which are eternal, and some of them are temporary. That means permanent real objects and temporary real objects. Both are real. So what are the permanent real objects? There are three eternal objects: Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan with his associates. Brahman is permanent real object. Paramatma is also permanent real object. And Bhagavan, along with his Vaikuntha Vasis, Bhagavan's associates are all Vaikuntha Vasis. The Supreme Lord and his Vaikuntha Vasis, they are all also permanent real objects. Then who are the temporary real objects? The insentient universe made up of matter is a temporary object. This entire universe, along with all the objects and all the living entities, is real but temporary. because the universe itself has a lifespan of 100 years of Brahma. And similarly, just like there are two types of real objects, there are two types of unreal objects. What are they? Some of the unreal, though they are unreal, we can experience, some we cannot experience. What is the example of experience unreal objects? Dreams and magic. Whatever you go through in the dream, when you are going to dream, you experience. When the dream is over, you can't see them. That's why they are unreal. But you can experience. Even when you go to magic show, you can experience what's happening during the magic. But when you come out of the magic show, you can't experience them. That's why they are not real. The second one is unreal, unexperienced objects, which consists of imaginary objects like a flower in the sky or a rabbit with horns. Daydreaming. In the night dream, we may experience something, but in a daydreaming, you just imagine, but you don't have any experience of them. That is like imagining the flower in the sky coming from nowhere and rabbit having horns, etc. These are some examples. So there are four categories: unexperienced unreal, experienced unreal, temporary real, permanent real. Currently, mostly we are in this fourth stage. We are in a daydreaming state. From daydreaming to we have to come to the first state. That is the purpose of human life. The purpose of human life is to move from fourth state to first state. Of course, it is not that everyone is in fourth state. Some may be here, some may be here, and majority will be obviously here. But in any case, wherever we may be in one of these three states, one has to come to this first state. Thus, the first canto of Bhagavatam says that the permanent real object is the best. Vedyam Vastava Matravat Shodam Tapatrayon Mulanam. Only Vastava Vastu is the real thing. Remaining are all not of much importance. What is that Vastava Vastu? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan with his Vaikuntavasis. That is the most important thing. Purpose of human life is to attain that. So that is with that intention, Lord Sankarsana is speaking this verse. Though I am everything, but the purpose of human life is to attain me. So like that. In order to speak about the permanent object, first the impermanent objects are described. What are the impermanent objects? I am all beings. I am the universe consisting of the jivas and their enjoyed objects, since I am not different from my Maya Shakti and my Jiva Shakti. So when the first line, when he said that Aham vai sarva bhutani, that means I am this entire universe consisting of all the living entities and also all the objects. Though they are impermanent, but they are real objects and they are all my expansions. Because the universe is an expansion of my Maya Shakti, the living entities are an expansion of my Jiva Shakti. The Jivas are called temporary objects in this case because of their covering of ignorance. So all the living entities are also called temporary because we are all identifying with our material body. As long as we identify with our material body, we are considered as temporary. When that from the time when we identify ourselves with the soul, then we become eternal. That permanent object is then explained. After explaining the temporary object, then Lord explained the permanent object. What is the permanent object? I am the second and third Purushas, the Antaryami of all the living entities in the universe and the Antaryami of the individual Jiva. The second Purusha is Garbhodaksha Vishnu, the Paramatma of the entire universe. And the third Purusha is Shivodaksha Vishnu, who is the Antaryami of each and every individual Jiva. So, Aham vai sarvabhutani bhutatma. The bhutatma word indicates both Garbhodaksha Vishnu and Shivodaksha Vishnu. And I manifest all these beings, that is Bhuta Bhavana. That indicates I am the first Purusha. I am Karnadaksha Vishnu. Because it is from Karnadaksha Vishnu only comes all the universes and all the living entities. He is the creator of everything. So in that way. And I bestow these jivas with various bhavas such as Dasya, Sakya, etc. Bhuta Bhavana. And he said, these are all coming from me, because what is the permanent object? Karnadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Hridakshaya Vishnu. And then I am the Vedas, Shabda Brahma, which are my breathing. And I am the impersonal Brahman realized by the Jnanis. These two are my forms. The devotees treat Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Hridakshaya Vishnu as Bhagavan. The yogis treat Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Hridakshaya Vishnu as Paramatma. And the Jnanis treat Mahavishnu as Brahman. It is the Mahavishnu whom the Jnanis consider as Brahman. And also the Vedas, which are called Shabda Brahma, are also my forms. There may be a fear that the Vedas are not eternal, since they are a form of sound related to ether, which is material. Somebody may say that the Vedas are nothing but the sound vibration, which is a product of ether, along with the sky sound produced. So the ether and sky are material. How can you say Shabda Brahma to be eternal like the Supreme Lord? There may be a fear that Parabrahma is unreal, since it is not definable by words. Parabrahma cannot be described, Brahman cannot be described. How can you say it is eternal and real? To remove these doubts, it is said that these two are eternally existing. These two are my Shashvate Tanu. Mama Ube Shashvati Tanu. They are my eternal forms. Lord definitely indicates that though people may call me as Parabrahma, though people see me as Shabda Brahma, but those are my two forms. They are also eternal like me. So this is the first cut knowledge about this entire universe. This is the Sambandha Jnana. Lord Sankarsana is revealing to King Citraketu. Hare Krishna, you are able to follow this. This is very important.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji,
So-
Hare Krishna.
Taking this as a basis, then the future verses will be discussed. Because in this verse, in the notes, we also saw that there are some objects which are not real, but sometimes they are experienced, sometimes they are not experienced. So taking that dream as a reference, the next two verses will speak about the nature of this universe. Though this universe is real, but it is temporary. But what is eternal? The Bhagavan, Paramatma, and Brahman are eternal and real. That has been established now. So now more detailed analysis of dealing with the temporary material universe.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, there is one
Vidatam
small thing.
Atmanam.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Prabhuji, you describe the four stages now, like the last fourth stage which you said, it is unreal and unexperienced. That
Ah,
that examples were given.
daydreaming.
Daydreaming, yeah, that horns
Yeah,
on the
rabbit horn and flower in the sky.
flower in the Akash Pushpam.
Hmm.
So, Prabhuji, like, what is that stage? Like you mentioned that most of us are in that stage. So, I didn't get quite clearly that how we are in that state. Like,
Obviously, na, we all imagine that I am the great. Ishvaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi. Yes or no? I am saying, matlab, we can relate to it. Some of you may not, but generally, we always in that, we always have higher, we cannot say expectation, higher estimation of ourselves. We may be something, but we estimate ourselves as something great. We are always in imaginary plan making. मैं ये करता हूँ, मैं वो करता हूँ, मैं ये करूँगा, वो करूँगा. That's such kind of daydreaming.
okay. So, not having the real estimation of own self, but imagining something else, that is the daydreaming we are done.
Yeah, daydreaming.
And going to the first stage means actually realizing what the Lord is, what is Brahman, what is Paramatman, and what is what, like that.
Going to Vaikuntha. Not only realizing, but going to Vaikuntha. See, the first one is in Vaikuntha. The second one is in the material world, but with proper understanding that the material world and living entity is an expansion of Supreme Lord. And the third one is living in the dreams. Dreams means अभी अपना दुनिया में है without any knowledge. So what? So I'm engineer, I'm this, have this family, that family, that is the dream life is going on. And one step lower than this is daydreaming. We may be something, but we are dreaming something else. Like for example, a person goes to movie theater, he sees the movie, and the time since the from the time he comes out of the theater, he acts like the hero. I am the hero. I can do this, I can do that, I can kick him, I can kick that. So for some time, they imitate the activity as the hero. That is called daydreaming.
Okay. Yeah. Like we also many times deciding that I will do this, I will do that, like that, not understanding that actually if the Lord permits and sanctions, then only we can do anything.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
The first one is in Vaikuntha. Second one is in the material world only, but with knowledge. The third one is in the material world without any knowledge, leading a normal, common social life. The fourth one is leading a imaginary life. So, in that way.
That means
Low.
imaginary life is lower than the karmi life probably.
Just fantasy. Imaginary means just a fantasy.
Yeah. So we say we are mostly in the fourth stage, like we are much lower than the karmis also like that.
Karmi is third state.
It hurts quite our ego, but yeah, it is true. Thank you.
Loke vidatam atmanam. Hare Krishna.
Vidat atmanam.
Lokam chatmane santatam.
Lokam chatmani santatam.
Ubhayam cha maya vyaptam.
Ubhayam cha maya vyaptam.
Mayi chaivobhayam kritam.
Mahi chaivo bhayam kritam. In this world of matter, which the conditioned soul accepts as consisting of enjoyable resources, the conditioned soul expands thinking that he is the enjoyer of the material world. Similarly, the material world expands in the living entity as a source of enjoyment. In this way, they both expand, but because they are my energies, they are both pervaded by me. As the Supreme Lord, I am the cause of these effects, and one should know that both of them rest in me.
The jiva takes the position of an enjoyer in this world, and the world is situated at the object of enjoyment for the jiva. So this is the state of third position. The third position, the jiva thinks I am the enjoyer. This world is for my enjoyment. Both are pervaded by me, since I am their cause, and both are produced within me. Both the material world and the living entities are produced by me, and they are pervaded by me, and they are within me. If you are everything, then the devotee should meditate on all living entities as the object of worship, and they would be the Antaryami. So when Lord said that I am the everything, Aham Vai Sarvabhutani Bhutatma Bhutabhavana, then we can meditate on everything. Then Lord says, in the material world, the jiva at the status of the enjoyer. The world is situated at the object of enjoyment for the jiva. Both the jiva and the world are pervaded by me at the cause. Both exist as products in me, the Adhisthana Karana, caused by being the support. I am the support of the living entities and the support of the entire universe because I am Paramatma. All beings are products of my Shaktis and they are temporary and do not arise from my Swarupa Shakti. Either this material world or the conditioned living entities are not products of my Swarupa Shakti, and thus they are not worthy object of meditation. They should not be the object of meditation in worship. only those objects which are manifestation of my Chit Shakti are worthy objects of meditation, not the expansions of my Tatastha and Bahiranga Shakti. So like that. Because the previous verse when Lord said that I am everything, so then I will meditate on everything. No, 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 not everything. Everything in the sense, some of them are expansion of my Chit Shakti, some of them are expansion of my Bahiranga Shakti. The things which are expansion of my Bahiranga Shakti are not worthy object of meditation, but the object which are expansion of my Chit Shakti are the worthy object of meditation. So previously Lord said, Shabda Brahma, Parabrahma, Mamobe, Shashwati Tanu. And I am first Purusha, second Purusha, third Purusha, whom people treat as Bhagavan, Paramatma and Brahman. So these should be worshipped, but not the other things. The reason is, some are expansion of my Shik Shakti, some are expansion of my marginal or Bahiranga Shakti. They are not. So now, taking that as these 2 points as reference, now Lord takes it further. Rejecting impermanent objects and unreal objects, one should worship my form as the Antaryami. This is explained in next 2 verses. So the 3, the unreal objects which are third and fourth, and impermanent object which is second, you reject all 3. They are not qualified to be meditated upon. Only the first one is qualified to be meditated upon. So now the question might come, why? Of course, they are a manifestation of Lord's marginal and Vairanga Shakti. That's why they are not qualified to meditate upon. But I want to understand in more detail. This is not enough for me. Now, Lord will explain the same thing more detail. Why the material universe, conditioned living entities, the karmi lifestyle, and fantasies are not worthy object of meditation. They are not supposed to be entertained. That is explained in the next 2 verses. Attention. So, because only jnanis can understand this, in the sense, the people who have that kind of temperament, analytical temperament, they will easily understand this. Otherwise, it needs some time or some meditation to make a sense of it. Yata sushupta purusho
Yatha sushupta purusho
vishvam pashyati chatmani
Vishwam pashyati chatmani
atmanam ekadeshastam
Atmanam ekadeshastham
manyate swapna uttita
Manyate swapna uttitah
evam jagaranadini
Evam jagaranadini
जीवस्थानानि चात्मनः
Jivasthanani chatmanah
माया मात्राणि विज्ञाय
Maya matrani vidnyaya
तद् तद्दृष्टारं परं स्मरेत्.
Tadrishtaram param smaret. When a person is in deep sleep, he dreams and sees in himself many other objects, such as great mountains and rivers, or perhaps even the entire universe, although they are far away. Sometimes, when one awakens from a dream, he sees that he is in a human form, lying in his bed in one place. Then he sees himself in terms of various conditions as belonging to a particular nationality, family, and so on. All the conditions of deep sleep, dreaming, and wakefulness are but energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should always remember the original creator of these conditions, the Supreme Lord, who is unaffected by them.
A sleeping person in a dream sees many objects of a dream world within himself. But on waking up, one realizes that his body is in one particular place. That means in the dream, one may be wandering from one mountain to other mountain, here, there, everywhere, all over the universe. But as soon as one gets up, one sees one is lying on the bed in one's own home. And the dream experience was unreal. One understand that whatever you experience till now in the dream, it's all unreal. Similarly, the states of waking, sleeping, and dreaming conditions of the jiva are caused by a covering of material intelligence and should be realized to be only Maya. One should therefore meditate only on the supreme seer of all these status, the Paramatma. So I'll give you one simple example. For example, a poor person is sleeping and dreaming as if he's a rich person. He has big bungalows, so many vehicles, so many servants, and so many things are there. In the dream, he was enjoying a lavish life. So it is already morning. The mother wakes him up. Hey, beta, get up. Utho, kaam ke liye jane ka. So when he gets up, he says that I am the millionaire. I am the richest person in the entire world. Why are you telling me to go for calm work? The mother says, beta, that is all illusion. That is all dream. In the dream, you may be anything, but in reality, you are a poor man. You have to work hard. So it takes some time to convert his understanding as being a rich man to poor man. So time like that. So this is the contrast between the reality and the dream. Same thing. If you extrapolate from the Shastra point of view, here whatever one is experiencing in dream is different from what one is experiencing in the waking state. There is a contrast. The dream objects are unreal, the waking objects are real. Same way, from Tattva point of view, currently while living in this world, our day-to-day lifestyle, we go through three states. Throughout the day, we are awake, Jagruta. In the night, we sleep. During that sleep, some nights we may go through a lot of dreams. That is dreamy sleep. That is called Swapna. And some nights we may go through deep sleep. Of course, some good devotees, good people might go through deep sleep every day without any fail. So, but in any case, we may go through three states. And these three states, even though we may go into these three states day to day, are compared to a dream in relation to spiritual world. That means the jiva in the spiritual world is dreaming. One dream after the dream. In one dream, one is dreaming himself as a human being. In one dream, one is dreaming himself as a devata. In one dream, one is dreaming himself as asura, like that. So many dreams are coming one after the other. The jiva in the spiritual world is dreaming in the dreams. In a dream world, this entire world should be seen as a dream world. So in the dream world, one is going through different species. But when the jiva in the spiritual world wakes up, for some time he still identifying, oh, I was this, I was that, I was that, I was that. But other people will say that, beta, come to the reality. You are none of these things. These are all dreams only. You are Vaikuntavasi. So that is the reality. So just like our mother says that, beta, come out of the dream, come to reality. Same way, one of the Vaikuntavasi, who is our spiritual master, who is a Shastra, Guru Sadhu Shastra, will tell that, beta, wake up from the dream, come to the reality. So, from the shelter of Shastra, Guru, and Sadhu, one who understands that what we are going through is a dream, then one is not attached to the dream world. One is only interested in waking up. That means going back to Godhead. So this is the essence of this verse as I have understood. So I may not be completely correct, but this is what I have understood. Some notes are there. Let us see. Within a dream, a person comfortably sleeping sees a dream. By illusion, he sees mountains or forests of the universe within himself. That means within the dream, one sees mountains and forests. Awaking from the dream, he considers that he is in one place on his own bed. In the waking state, he considers the dream mountain and forest are different from his own current situation. When he is in the dream, he is enjoying the mountains and forests. As soon as he get up, he is in confusion whether that is true or this is true. But after some time, when he completely wakes up, then he understands whatever he saw in the dream as an illusion, whatever he is seeing now is real. Just as the dream objects are considered unreal on waking and fully awakened state, so the real objects of this world in waking state should be considered as unreal since they are temporary. The dream objects are illusory and unreal. Similarly, a person in knowledge should consider this material, the objects of this material, because they are temporary, one should take them as unreal and focus on getting the real objects, permanent real objects, that is Bhagavan, Paramatma and Brahman and Vaikuntha. Having understood that these conditions of the Jiva, the conditions of the intelligence covering the Jiva, are only Maya of the Lord. Since they are products of his Maya Shakti, one should meditate on the superior seer of these conditions, the Antaryami. Just like the objects that we see in the dream are produced by our mind. Similarly, the objects we are seeing around us. So here I am seeing the mountains and rivers, etc., etc. All of you are seeing so many buildings and vehicles, etc., etc. in Mumbai. They are all creation of Maya. They are all creation of three modes of material nature. They are all made up of 24 material elements. So they should be they are temporary and hence they should be considered as unreal. The Jiva is not indicated here. The state of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep in a dreaming person are all ignorance, since they are created by Jivas in ignorance. That means they are created by the mind in ignorance. Thus, they are actually unreal. All the objects that are within the dream are actually unreal. Similarly, the states of waking, sleeping, and dreaming created by Lord's Maya Shakti are simply Maya and therefore unreal. However, mountains, forests, snakes, tigers, elephants, and horses in a dream are created by the Jiva or Jiva's mind through ignorance and are therefore factually unreal objects. So, whatever we see in the dream, they're actually unreal, but whatever we see around us now in our waking state, though they are real, because they are temporary, we should treat them as unreal for our own well-being. Only when we treat them as unreal, we look for something real, that is the spiritual world. If we think that these are real, we remain here only. That is the understanding. So this is how Lord Sankarsana is giving analytical understanding of this material world with an example. So, anyway, the state 4 is completely illusory. The state 3 is, though we are experiencing, but it is unreal and hence it is illusory. And the state 2, which is supposed to be our current state, our waking, dreaming, and deep sleep states we go through in the state 2, we are living in this material world as a living entity with understanding that this, when we have this proper understanding that though this material world is real and temporary, since it is temporary, we should treat it as unreal. When unless until we treat it as unreal, we cannot focus on first thing. Otherwise, we will compromise with the second thing only. So with that intention, Lord Sankarsana is telling this. Hare Krishna, you are all of you are following it. Anyone has any questions?
No, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji.
So then, Lord further continues. Till 57th verse, the same dialogue is going on. Ena prasupta purushaha.
Yena prasup.
Continue, Mantri.
Yena prasupta purushaha.
Swapam vedatmanastada.
Swapam vedatmanastada.
Sukam cha nirgunam brahma.
Sukham cha nirgunam brahma.
Samatmanam avehimam.
Samatmanam avehimam.
Know me to be the Supreme Brahman, the all-pervading Supersoul, through whom the sleeping living entity can understand his dreaming condition and his happiness beyond the activities of the material senses. That is to say, I am the cause of the activities of the sleeping living being.
Know the Paramatma by whom the sleeping person knows his sleeping condition, and in this sleep he is able to know the happiness of Brahman without objects or qualities. So here is telling that, so my dear friend, your current material existence and your experience of the dream and your experience of deep sleep all are possible by Paramatma. What kind of experiences we go through in these three states? How can I, how then do I know the Antaryami? Know the Antaryami by whom the Jiva, like a sleeping person, knows his sleeping state and in a deep sleep state knows happiness of the Lord with no object. It should be clearly understood that it is the Antaryami who daily dissolves the gunas during deep sleep by his mercy and gives the Jiva, whose knowledge and bliss are covered by firm bondage of the gunas, an experience of his nirguna happiness. Now, every day we go through three kinds of happiness. What are the three? During the daytime, when we are awake, when we are interacting with the people of this world and things of this world and objects of this world, we experience the real temporary object, the real temporary happiness. So the happiness what that we go through while eating prasadam and interacting with the devotees and hearing something and speaking something, there is some kind of happiness that is real but temporary. That is only there as long as that we go through. As long as we are eating, we have that happiness of eating. After once eating is done, then there is no happiness. There is temporary and real. When we dream, in the dream also we imagine so many things. That time also we go through some happiness. That happiness is temporary but unreal. We experience, but it's not real happiness. It is only created by mind within the mind. And something real but temporary. There is something temporary but unreal. But there is some happiness one goes through real. And it is a glimpse of eternal happiness that will be coming in deep sleep. The reason is, in the daytime, we identify ourselves with this human body in which we are there. We identify with the upadhis of this body. In the dream, we identify with the body which is in the dream. But in deep sleep, we forget all identities. When we are in deep sleep, we don't remember that. I don't remember that I am Pavaneshwar Das, I am a Brahmachari, I am this, I am that. I don't have any knowledge of that. That means I have lost my identity with this material body. And also, I have lost my identity with this material world also. In the deep sleep, I alone exist. I don't have any connection with this material world and material body. There is a possibility of experiencing Brahmananda in the deep sleep. That means I am myself. I am with me, myself. That experience is Aham Brahmasmi Brahmananda. That is given to us by Paramatma. That is called a small iota of the experience of nirguna happiness, being alone without having any connection with the byproducts of the three modes. The byproducts of three modes are 24 material elements. So we don't identify with any of these 24 elements. In that state, one experiences a small iota of Brahmananda. That is also possible. Because we are able to experience all the three kinds of happiness, the daytime happiness, sleep happiness, and deep sleep happiness, which is not possible by our own endeavor. The jiva cannot independently get free from his bondage and then experience that happiness by his own strength. That Brahmananda we cannot experience by our own strength. Understand that Antaryami is Brahman with no qualities, and also understand Brahman as me, Bhagavan, with qualities. I, one person, exist as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. These are not my first, second, and third forms. I have only one form. It is said, Artho Dhurgata Iva Bhavati Swarupa Daya bhavat. Nothing is impossible for you because you have only one form. So basically the understanding is that in the deep sleep, we go through a kind of Brahmananda that is given by Paramatma. Somebody may say that no, you are telling that you are experiencing Brahmananda. Okay, and Paramatma will give it, it should be given by Paramatma only, Brahman only. Okay, no problem. It is Brahman also. Somebody may say that how can you say Brahman Paramatma? This is Bhagavan who is giving the Ananda. It is Bhagavan who comes as Paramatma, who comes as Brahman is giving that Ananda. Okay, no problem. Whether you may treat him as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, ultimately these three are not different. They are all one only. You are treating them separately. But that one entity is giving us an experience of Brahmananda. Then what to speak of giving us the happiness that we go through daytime, that we go through deep dream time. All these happiness are given by that person whom we may call Bhagavan or Paramatma or Brahman. That's how we have to understand that there is a person who is known as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. It is by his intervention, it is by his permission, we are able to experience day, awake happiness during daytime, happiness during nighttime while sleeping, while dreaming, and happiness during deep sleep. That indicates that yes, certainly the absolute truth as Paramatma, Bhagavan, and Brahman exist. Otherwise, we cannot go through these three varieties of happiness. So it is like this. So he is kind of strengthening the Sambandha Jnana. Lord Sankarsana is strengthening the Sambandha Jnana in more and more detailed way. Then he further continues. Ubhayam smarataha pumshaha
Ubhayam smarataha pumsaha
prasvapa pratibhodayo
prasvapa pratibodhayo
anveti vyatirichetat
anveti vyatirichetat
tadjnanam brahma tatparam.
tadjnanam brahma tatparam. If one's dreams during sleep are merely subject matters witnessed by the super soul, how can the living entity who is different from the super soul remember the activities of dreams? The experience of one person cannot be understood by another. Therefore, the knower of the facts, the living entity who inquires into the incidents manifested in dreams and wakefulness, is different from the circumstantial activities. That knowing factor is Brahman. In other words, the quality of knowing belongs to the living entities and to the Supreme Soul. Thus, the living entity can also experience the activities of dreams and wakefulness. In both stages, the knower is unchanged, but is qualitatively one with the Supreme Brahman.
That which remains during the waking and deep sleep states of the person, observing those states, and which is different from them, is the Jiva. Superior to the Jiva is Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So we go through three states: waking state, dreaming state, and deep sleep state. But the one who is witnessing all these three, or the one who is going through all these three, is Jiva, who is separate from these three. And that Jiva is able to go through all these three because of the presence of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, who is still separate from him. So there is a distinction among them. How does the person in waking state remember what was observed by the witness during sleep and thus says, I slept happily? So just now we said that in deep sleep, we lose our connection with this material body made up of 24 elements. And we get an experience of an iota of Brahmananda. And after waking up, one says that I had a good sleep today. So just now we said that during the deep sleep, one lost connection with the entire body, and after waking up, one is saying that I had good sleep. So who is that person who is storing that experience of being good, having good sleep? It is the mind which stores all our experiences. But in deep sleep, we lose connection with the mind. Then who is remembering that good experience of sleep? One person cannot remember what was experienced by another person. The question is, so what happens to you? I cannot remember what happens to me. You cannot understand. That which is present during deep sleep and waking states of the man who investigates those states, and which is different from them, which continues while these states appear and disappear, is the jiva. So, in the waking state, we have complete connection with our gross body and subtle body. In the dream state, we lose our connection with our gross body, but with the help of the subtle body, we create a new gross body. In our dream, we may get a new gross body. Our subtle body is same, but new gross body we create. But in deep sleep, we may lose connection with both gross body and subtle body. But in any case, it is we who are there in all these three states. We, as the witness, will remember all these three experiences by the empowerment of Paramatma. It is by the empowerment of Paramatma we are able to remember all the experiences we go through these three states. Just as one remembers during youth what was seen during childhood, even though the conditions are different. In childhood, we had a different grass body. Now we have a different grass body. The grass body completely changed, but still we remember some activities that we have done in the childhood. The reason is subtle body is same. Similarly, one remember the bliss of deep sleep on waking. So now, from childhood to youth, the grass body is different, but subtle body is same. From daytime to dream, the grass body is different, subtle body is same. Similarly, from dream to deep sleep, the subtle body is different, but the soul is same. In dream, we had subtle body, we ourselves are there. In the deep sleep, we don't have the subtle body. We ourselves are there. At least we are there in both the states. So we are the witness of that experience. So in that way. So superior to that Jiva is Brahman. The Jiva is not Brahman. Though the Jiva is also the Lord, because of being is Tatastha Shakti, the Jiva does not belong to the Lord Swarupa Shakti. Thus, it is different from Brahman. So in the previous verse, we said that Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan with Vaikuntha Vasis. Each and every Vaikuntha Vasi is also considered an expansion of the Swarupa Shakti of the Lord. That's why the Vaikuntha Vasis are also considered to be permanent real objects. But though Jiva is also an expansion of the Supreme Lord, Jiva in the material world cannot be considered as permanent real object, because the Jiva in the material world is an expansion of Lord's Tatastha Shakti, not Swarupa Shakti. But when the same Jiva goes to spiritual world, he becomes a part of Swarupa Shakti. Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Devim Prakriti Mashrita. When the Jiva goes to spiritual world, they will become the part of Devi Prakriti. They are no more part of Mahamaya. So those who are under the shelter of Mahamaya, they are called Tatastha Shakti. Those who are under the shelter of Yogamaya, they are called as Swarupa Shakti. Thus, the Tatastha Shakti is completely different from Brahman. So this is how he distinguishes or establishes the Sambandha Jnana in these verses. So now from the next verse onwards, if one does not understand and follow this knowledge, what happens to them? And if one understands and follow this knowledge, what happens to them? That will be the rest of the chapter, which we will discuss next week.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, you explained now that in deep sleep, the subtle body is not there. Like, I didn't get exactly how it is to be understood. Like,
Because in deep
subtle-
sleep, we forget who we are also. That forgetfulness is there completely. We don't have any upadhi, any connection with the upadhis of this world.
So functionally,
I'll tell you simple. In a daytime, if somebody asks who are you, I say that my name is Pandu Santoju or Pavaneshwar Das. I'm a brahmachari. I'm an engineer. This that. Whatever I have been through all these days, I will tell. I'm the son of so and so parents. I'm the disciple of so and so guru. So these are all like the current identities in one sense. So in the dream, if somebody asks who are you, I say that I am the king, because in the dream I am a king. I had a different identity. So what is common both for the waking state and dreaming state? My subtle body is same, but my gross body is changed. In my daytime, my gross body is a human being and male person. In the and a brahmachari or a student or whatever. In my dream, I am also a human being. I am also a male, but I am a king. But in the deep sleep, I am neither a brahmachari nor a king. I am no one. I will lose contact with the subtle body also. There, I myself remain.
okay.
For this,
So
you can read the last two verses of the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya paramanaha manasastu para buddhiryo vidde parasasuta evam buddhva param buddhva samsabhyatmanam atmana.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like means Prabhuji, means functionally, if we try to see that time in deep sleep, one loses contact with the subtle body. But actually, subtle body is there, but one is under the cover of deep sleep, so it doesn't realize that subtle body is there or whatever.
Yes. See, for example, when you are in the hospital, you are wearing the doctor's uniform, the white apron and all. So there is a certain identity with that. So you behave accordingly. But when you go home, you remove that apron, you remove the stethoscope and keep it in the some store place where that store is there, and then you behave like a family person. Yes or no? You lose that identity
Yes.
or something like that.
Okay. Because I was finding it difficult because when we say now that the subtle body, when it separates from us, then only person is said to be liberated like that. So
See,
I was,
that's why I said an iota of experience. It is not that we are separating,
yeah,
we are separate from that, but we lose that identity. We don't identify with that.
subtle body becomes kind of dormant in the deep sleep state. So
Yeah,
where it
yes,
uh, shows any
yes,
identity.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other devotees have any questions?
No questions, Prabhuji, but we'll have to read this again and hear it
Yeah. This is
again.
a little
And for
difficult.
this to
Request
sing it.
everyone to go through the slides. I think I've
Yes.
already shared the slides with you. You
Yes,
please
yes,
read through.
Prabhuji,
I told in
yes.
the beginning only.
Yes.
The Jnana practitioners enjoy studying this section. For a devotee, it will be a little difficult, but if we understand it, we can become serious.
Yeah, when you explained, I understood. But
Hmm.
then for this to sink in, you'll have to
Yeah.
read it and
You
hear it
can
again.
go through the notes a couple of
Yes,
times
Prabhuji,
before
yes.
next week.
Vijay, one more small thing is there, like means here you explained now that Lord Sankarsana is bestowing jnana now to the Citraketu. Like, so, like Angira Muni and Narad Muni, they initiated him in the process of bhakti, and they told him to do the bhakti. So, and he means he implemented also that, and because of that only he got the darshan of the Lord like that. Then
Mm.
after everything, means the abhideya has happened, the prayojan is also reached through the process of bhakti. Then why the jnana is being bestowed? Like I was not understanding.
Because he was questioning, na? He and his wife are questioning the Lord. You are immature creator, you are in, you don't have proper sufficient knowledge, you don't know how to create and all. So Lord is giving the proper understanding of what is what.
वो तो हो गया ना, वो पहले था ना, बिफोर अंगिरा मुनि and नारद मुनि
No, they
disturb
have
the
not given that knowledge. They have given, but this is the most fundamental knowledge.
okay. Yeah. Maybe that is means some traces in the Chitraketu are remaining, and to
So
remove those doubts.
whether it is for Chitraketu Maharaj or not, but it is particularly for all of us. Chitraketu is an instrument. Even for Chitraketu Maharaj also, of course, it is not that he never heard this knowledge. He might have heard, but because of his routine activities of begetting children, he forgot everything. And because after the death of his children, his son, he became kind of renounced, detached, and then he could take up the instructions given by Narada Muni very seriously, and he chanted the mantra. Now the Lord is kind of giving the completeness of his understanding. So he had perfect bhakti understanding. So you need to have some jnana understanding also, the understanding of what is what, so that there is no lacuna in him. Again, there will be no question afterwards asked. As a result of this knowledge, this is the knowledge by which even when Mother Parvati curses, he will say, Guna pravaha etasmin kvashapa konu anugraha. That reply is not because of the bhakti which he had. That reply is because of this knowledge which he is receiving now. And the same person was able to speak to the asuras and devatas and nidra what they are supposed to do in the battle because of this knowledge. This knowledge is the cause of all the subsequent things to happen.
Yeah, understood, Prabhuji, but
And
yeah, sorry, let you continue.
that's what. Because of this knowledge only, he was speaking all the wonderful philosophical things to Indra. Even Indra became astonished. How can a person born in Asura body can speak like this? Because Lord Sankarsana personally imparting that knowledge. So how much effect it must be having?
Yeah, sorry, Prabhuji, but like every time it is said na that bhakti is complete and it doesn't require the
See, I don't.
Vaisa.
One second. So you people, why you have that kind of understanding? When I say jnana, so why do you think jnana to be something looked down?
It's not looked down upon, but
Uh,
Prabhuji, every time and again we hear in every lecture that bhakti is complete and it doesn't require the Baisakhi of Gyan and karma or anything.
ऐसा नहीं. By the practice of bhakti, jnana and vairagya will be automatically realized. That doesn't mean that you should not practice. You should not make an endeavor to understand again jnana and vairagya. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prajita Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yadayatukam. Of course, when one comes to the platform of Uttama Bhakta, Bhava Prema, the Jnana and Vairagya are automatically revealed. That does not mean that from the day one should not make an endeavor to understand what is what. Otherwise, what was the need for having daily Bhagavatam classes, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav? What we are doing is all trying to understand what is what only. Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav is all Jnana only. Otherwise, if we think what is the need, then no need to do Bhakti Shastri Bhakti, just chant and stay home and chant only. No need to even attend Bhagavatam classes daily also.
Okay, Prabhuji, like because many times it means about Bhagavatam also it is said that Bhagavatam is the scripture for the devotees. It is not for the karmis or jnanis like that. They have different scriptures
See,
like Mahabharata is
it
for
is not
karmis.
like that. See, Bhagavatam also has the knowledge of analytical study, and Bhagavatam also has the knowledge of Bhagavan. If one is only stopping with analytical study, they are called Jnananis. But this analytical study taking us through the Aishwarya Jnana Bhagavan, that is complete. Or if you only study Aishwarya Jnana of the Lord and no analytical study, then it is also incomplete. It is not complete. Why did we make an endeavor to study the creation, pastimes, and teachings of Lord Kapila, second, third cantos? That is all analytical study only, and fifth canto also. These are all analytical study. It is from sixth canto onwards only Lord's pastimes are starting. Then Bhakti Vaibhav should start from sixth canto only. Even in sixth canto, here also we are studying analytical study. In that sense, we say seventh canto onwards only pastimes are starting. So we should study seventh canto only. Seventh canto onwards only. We should skip first six cantos.
Okay, so by gaining the knowledge, the devotion will become scientific and perfect, and not just remain the emotionality. Like that.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, it is getting late. 2:50, already 50, 8:50. So thank you very much to all the devotees who have joined.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Grantara
Hare
Srimad
Krishna,
Bhagavatam
Prabhuji.
ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Ananta Koti
Jai.